This is the MTPredictor weekly market update for March 22nd. Alright, so we got our Fed meeting out of the way on Wednesday, the announcement on interest rates. We had our options expiration, quadruple options expiration Friday out of the way. We've got a full week of economic data this week. Should be a good trading week. Let's just take a look and see here what's going on with the markets. The Fed, the markets here were watching the Fed and the language and the word that word patience was removed from the language, and that really sent the market up. And the reaction in the dollar was really quite an amazing move in the dollar intraday. And later some of the Fed governors, I guess, came back and kind of put that word back in, patience, and the dollar then responded back in the upside, the euro on the downside. So it was, we'll take a look at those, but it was a pretty interesting day there. But what it did for the S&P here, remember we looked at, we just looked at the Elliott wave pattern here, and we talked about this level here was our initial resistance, and if we closed above that level, which we've gotten to close above that level, we've got a high in here on the current contract. It's the June contract of 2106.75. So we get to 2107. All right, then my guess is we're going to go ahead and test or make the new high and test this 2120 level, the beginning of the decision point, next decision point resistance area here. So watch for that. We still, if we can't get above Friday's high there, that 2106.75, all right, we're not out of the woods, because we could we could look at this as a significant high. It's a prior all-time high. So this could be a 1, a 2, and we could be set up for a large wave 3 move down from this level. But I think if we take out the high there on Friday, then we'll move into this 2120 level on the current contract there. Pretty much the same picture for the other markets here. Some intraday resistance that we came into as well on these markets. And again, the Dow also, you see Dow is still kind of closed inside its wave 2 or B. So we'll have to watch for a close outside of that level. Here's your next daily resistance here in the Dow. Almost into that 18,300 level. The other thing I want to keep my eye on, so far, even when we made the prior highs there, let me go first to the Dow Transport. And you'll see the Dow Transports have not been able to make a new high. So they haven't yet confirmed the prior high in stocks. All right, it reached this level, this resistance level here, on this little trade setup that we put on here, but hasn't been able to get through that. It was rejected there. It's come back up just shy of the level here, but again, we want to see the Dow Transports making new highs to confirm if the market is actually going up. If we continue to have that divergence, then again we got to watch this market in that wave 2, potential wave 2 level, because it could be a significant move down there. And then the XLU, the ETF for the utilities, remember we had our 5-wave pattern up here in a large monthly resistance. The institutions will typically buy these utilities when they're expecting deflation, and when this was selling off, we had a correction in bonds that was signaling higher interest rates. Now we have found some support here in XLU in this little minimum wave C Fibonacci cluster area here, and we've rallied off of that level. But we're going to see, because we've still have lower highs and lower lows here in the XLU, and then the XLF, we'd expect them to be buying that, and this is the ETF for the financials, and no new high there. Right, so we'd probably want to see a new high there, get the Dow transports to new highs, if we start seeing a new high in stocks to confirm it all. If we continue to have this divergence, then we may be setting up for a bigger move to the downside. All right, then let's look at the dollar index here. And let me look at the continuous contract here. So here is this movement that we were on Fed day there on the Wednesday, and you can see the dollar really spiked down hard. This was right in our typical wave 5. Again, this is where we would anticipate this wave 5 to come to an end before we got a correction, and typically the correction is back to the wave 4 DP. Didn't quite make it down there. Of course, this is just one day, but you can see that large spike down. That was on that removal of the patience language, and then it was kind of later put back in, and the dollar kind of recovered a bit there. Still has some strength on the STF. It's pulling off the strength band there, indicating there may still be some further upside ahead, but we'll keep an eye on this one. Check of the euro US dollar here. Okay, and you can see again, we were in this wave 4 area that we were looking at in prior weekly market updates, and we went through the minimum wave 5 target, and we came down into this is the typical wave 5 target. So we had a 5-wave pattern has been completed now, and you can see then we did get that rally in the euro, brief rally anyway, on Fed day, and we'll see how things settle out here. Typically after 5 waves you get a correction back to this wave 4 DP. Right, but we'll see if the euro is allowed to come off the lows here and continue some fall through, or if the prior trends continue to resume to the downside in this pair. And of course, obviously the dollar affecting this. The dollar, it's a competing currency against gold. Look at gold here. And gold, we anticipated if this held as resistance, right, that we broke the 12. I drew the line here at 1200, and that if we did that, we would test the lows or this weekly support here, and you can see we came back into this weekly support, almost a double bottom there, and gold began to move off of the level here. This high volume spike indicated perhaps some professionals stepping in and buying this, so we'll see if this gets some fall through. Here's the next daily resistance level here in gold, back above 1200. So again, that's kind of our line in the sand, our bull bear line, if you will. And then finally, let's just take a look at oil. The supply of oil is, there's still plenty of supply. Let's see, where's the CL here? And of course, a higher dollar also puts pressure to the downside on oil. And we talked about this DP where the buying started. Again, the rally's tendency is to the wave 4 DP. That's this level here. If this level holds as resistance, which you see it has, the tendency is the trend which was down prior should continue down. So kind of made a little twin bottom down here. We do have, here's the daily decision point, the next support on the daily chart here, just below this low here. But then below 40, just below 40, we're going to have the monthly support. I think that's the level that we're probably going to test. If they can get through this daily support level, then we should get below 40 and test that monthly support there. All right, so we'll watch this week again. Plenty of economic data this week. It should be a good trading week. We'll come back and see if the dollar kind of resumes that uptrend, the euro falls back, and oil maybe rolls over again. Maybe we get a test of this support. We'll see how this all plays out. So have a good trading week, and we'll see you back next weekend.